Well, hi guys, welcome back to Linda's Pantry. And as you see in the title, it's a little different video. I've been doing these do-it-yourself videos for a little while now, and I'm getting great response from it, but I also, with great response comes a lot of questions. I sometimes can't always answer it, or I'm not sure how to word it. So I thought I'd address some of those today while I finish up one of these projects or get closer to the end. Now I'm chalk painting this chair that goes with the table that's over there with the other two chairs on it. I've got it covered. The table is done, and that video will be coming out shortly, so stay tuned for that on how I did that table, because it is unbelievable. And so the chairs are chalk painted and distressed, and what I need to do is get in here and do a second coat. And what I want to show you is to avoid thick and clumpy. Literally, you're taking your paint, dip it in, and offload. A lot of people ask, how much paint do you leave on the brush? You want to offload that so you get nice thin coats. You don't want drips and globs to end up anywhere on your piece, because it won't give it a nice finished look. And even though you have to do more coats, like it takes 2 to 3 coats sometimes to cover a piece, but to me it's worth the time investment, because the finished product is so much prettier and you really get, you know, what you would want to pay money for. And this particular piece is going to be for sale, so I really want it to be beautiful. And some of the things that I've learned as I've been doing this, because every time you do a new piece, you learn something new. I learned that I can add different effects with using 2 colors, and I've done a few pieces with 2 colors, but using that to my advantage, and there's a little clump of paint there, using that to my advantage, I have learned that you can add dimension or character to a piece. So on this particular chair, when I was doing the brown, I went over the areas I was going to distress with a dark brown. And then when I distress, I'll hit that dark brown paint first, and then I'll hit the wood afterwards, depending on how heavy. I also took and let some of the brown paint get little piles or drops, if you will, on the base of the chair seat. When I sand that, it's going to come out with this brown worn spot, and it looks very cool. So the other questions that I get is how much can I, you know, make doing this if I wanted to do this and flip the pieces of furniture. And honestly, it depends on how much you got the piece for to begin with and how much product it takes. This table and chairs, it's going to cost me about $50 in product. And then I add on the cost of the piece, and then I also then check the market for what a piece like that might go for, because every area is going to be different, and every area is going to have a little bit different demand for that type of piece of furniture. So, and it goes in waves. You know, one day nobody's looking for your stuff, and the next day you can't keep enough of them on your sale ad. So this has already had one really good coat, and Amy Howard's chalk paint, look at your Ace True Value hardware, or go check the link below, and I'll have a link for where you can get it online. I really feel like it's the best, because you don't have to seal this. I could leave this a chalky finish, but that's not the look I'm going for. I am going to put the liquid matte sealer on it, which still gives it a really pretty satin shine. So, all right, so now I'm getting close to being finished with this part of the chair, and then I'll turn it over, make sure that I've got all the sides well coated, and there's no thin areas. Again, all the while when I'm working on a piece that I'm intending on selling, I make sure that it's something that I would pay good money for and that it would be acceptable. So I hope that helps. Price pointing stuff can be difficult because you don't always get paid for your labor, and sometimes it's more of a labor of love depending on how much you paid for the piece. But if you're going to keep it, It's usually well worth it. And this, do you have to use a chalk painting brush? This is a chalk painting brush. And the answer is no, you do not. I've used all kinds, but once you get these used and washed and conditioned a couple of times, they don't shed anymore. And so I really like them. It covers a lot of area quickly. And I know that my piece is getting the correct amount of paint per stroke. If you offload that brush, wipe that excess off of there, you're gonna get exactly what you want. So let me get this turned. And I will take you over and show you the chairs that are almost done. I'm finishing the last bit of top coat. And that top coat, because there's a sheen and I put the first coat on last night at night, it's hard to see where you're at and because of lighting. So I always double check my piece. And in the morning, the other thing is you don't want to start using your pieces of furniture immediately. You want to give it time for this to cure. The chalk paint itself needs to cure and really adhere to the piece, and the sealer, the top coat, needs to cure to really give you a hard finish, especially if you're doing something for outdoor furniture. I am looking for some pieces to maybe do an outdoor thing at our house here, because why not? I've got the room, and it would be fun to have something I've done out there on the patio. All right, so we've got our piece with its second coat. I'm going to flip it over so I can check everything else and take you over to see the chairs top coated and see if I can remember any other questions that you guys have been asking me about this stuff. And if you like these kind of videos, you know, let me know in the comment section. I know I'm getting mixed. The people that are diehard cooks or like watching cooking, you know, they aren't as enthused about this, but that's the beauty of YouTube. I'll always title my stuff correctly so you can make a judgment call of whether you want to go ahead and tune in and watch, or you're going to peace out and wait for the next cooking or the next DIY. Either way. Oh yeah, this is really, really nice. All right. And there you go. I'm almost done. This project has taken me a little bit of time just because of work and everything, and that's the other thing. A lot of people think or have assumed that I don't have an outside the home job other than YouTube, and that's not true. I do hair 3 days a week as well, so plus take care of everything around here. All right, so let's see. Oh, and I will tell you, the chairs that are here go to my old dining set. I'm redoing them. I already redid the one oddball chair and I love it. And so I'm going to redo this table, but it will take more work. So I will bring you along for that, because it's not just wash and start painting. I'm going to have to sand the top of this table to start, because the veneer or whatever's on the top, the very top of this table, is warped and bubbled from heat or water or I don't know what. So we have to fix that first. But let's go look at the other chairs. So these chairs are finished as far as they've had their 2.5 coats of chalk paint. I've distressed them the way I want them. And I consider this light distressing, but it is, I think it'll fall into more of what somebody else might want, not just me. So this is the liquid matte sealer by Amy Howard, and I love this stuff. It's actually, it's a little spendy, but it's so easy to use, and it really seals it in one coat. You don't have to put a second coat on if you don't want to. I just use it very sparingly, and I'd rather add to my bowl than have to waste any. So I'm going to go over and look at the areas I know that I missed from bad lighting. And it literally, I've got an angle brush here. It goes on. And you do want to make sure that you don't leave any spots with too much product, because that won't look good. You know, especially when you're painting, it's easy to overlook something. And then I did gel stain the top of this table, so you'll see that in that video. And I just love the look of the chalk paint and the gel staining together, because it really is an elegant, shabby chic look, or French provincial, or you know, there's a bunch of names, vintage, country, if you will. So get everything that you know you missed last night, and just look, make sure every bit of your piece has that satin sheen that you want. And then this particular piece, I'm going to go ahead and put it back up. Right there. And this, both the paint and this is soap and water cleanup. So you can't get any easier to deal with when it comes to products than soap and water. And I did want to bring you in and let you guys see these chairs, because I know you're going to ask about them when you see the other video. And this particular table and chair set is a solid wood. It's a Malaysian pine. And the reason I got it pretty reasonable was because it had a 3.5 foot scratch that you could stand a dime up in going across the top of the table, and I fixed that. So look for those pieces, because you can fix them, and you can repurpose this piece and give it a new life. Now, once I'm done with the top coat here, I'm going to let it dry, and it dries very quickly. It'll get dry, and I'll come back and do my antiquing, because I did antique very little on the table down here, right around any of the actual surfaces that had some detail to it. So here I'll do a little antiquing, and maybe a little bit around here and up here on the chair. So, but I'll bring you in close when I do that. All right, guys, I'm going to finish this and we'll bring you in close. Okay, so what I have is a sanding block, and I just wrap a piece of 100 grit sandpaper on there. And I'm going to distress all my edges that would naturally get wear, and give it that shabby chic, distressed, antique, vintage look. And you can see how pretty that comes out. Hopefully you can see that. So I'm going around all the edges of the chair. And this is one of my favorite parts of redoing these, because I get to be very creative here. I don't do any of the chairs the same, but yet they're similar in that they will have certain characteristics that will be the same, and certain ones will not be the same at all. And I can see the dark brown paint through in spots, and then other spots I go right down to that bare wood, which was a lighter wood. Like here, I don't know if you can see that or not. It's come down to the dark brown paint along that edge, which is great. And then over here I have a drip, and you just sand that right off, and it's gone. Nobody ever knows it was there in the first place. So you kind of have to be a little bit of a perfectionist, but yet not really. I don't want it perfect. I want it to have its own character and take on its own personality. So there you go. That's as easy as distressing is. And again, my chair is going to get flipped all over the place. And now I think you can see this whole part of the chair has been distressed sufficiently. Well, and actually I want a little bit more right in here to help show some of that detail, because this is where I'll be putting the antiquing on this particular piece, is in there. So hopefully you can see that well enough. And then we just give these get some wear marks on them. And then we're going to go right up here and do this part. Just love it. So there you go. 100 grit sandpaper. Distress your piece. Have fun with it. Get creative. I've seen pieces that I thought were overdone, and somebody else might go, oh no, that's beautiful. And so it really is up to your creative juices how much distressing you do on a piece of furniture. I'm trying to keep this minimal because I really do want to be able to sell it, and maybe the person that's looking might not like heavy distressing. But so there you go, and I'm gonna flip this chair around and work on the rest of it. And I'll bring you back when we're all done and I can show you the finished product with all the chairs at the table, and you can see how it looks together. All right guys, I'll be back.